In the story that the amazing digital circus is based on, the character who understands how everything works ends up killing the others. And yes, Jax has already reached that point. And maybe you already know that the amazing digital circus is based on the story of I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, which has been stated by the creator herself, Gooseworks. And we can clearly confirm it, we've seen strong influences from this in the circus. So here's where it gets serious. Does this mean that for episode 9, the grand finale, Jax is going to make some kind of sacrifice to save the others? Maybe it's not literally about saving them so they can leave the circus and return to real life, but rather about ending their digital existence in the cruelest way. Because let's be honest, what if there was never a way out, and what if there isn't a body waiting for them in real life? Well, everything points to Jax. Jax is going to do something to free the others, not as a hero, but as someone who understood the truth before everyone else. And in this video, we're going to explore why Jax is going to sacrifice himself in episode 9 of the digital circus. To start, we need to see why it's Jax. You may have seen that many people talk about how Jax has been distancing himself from the group as the episodes go by, especially with the image from episode 9 where he looks bad. Many people connected him with Ted, the character from I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, who realizes there was never a way out and ends up doing the unimaginable to free the others. But I think there's much more than this to confirm the theory that Jax is going to be the one who frees everyone. If you remember, there was recently a controversy with the creator Gooseworks because in a podcast she said that the protagonists of the amazing digital circus were Pomni and Jax. A lot of people didn't like this, but now that we're reaching the last episode, and after analyzing episode 8, it starts to make a lot of sense. Mainly because throughout the episodes, Jax went from being a mocker and basically a bully to distancing himself more and more and seeming stranger. It's as if little by little he's losing his mind because of everything he's experienced in the digital circus. And I think that because of the conversation they had with Kingar in episode 8, Jax finally confirmed what he already suspected, that there really is no way out. And this is exactly what happens to Ted in I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. Over time, Ted realizes that the artificial intelligence that has them trapped changes everything, makes them suffer constantly, and doesn't allow them to die. After everything they've been through, he comes to a simple conclusion. The only way to escape is to die. And if we look at the episodes of the digital circus, Jax became more and more apathetic each time. He started saying colder things, like that the others are his toys, that nobody cares about him, or even when he dared Pomni to shoot him. Here he already stops caring about what happens. For him, nothing is real. Everything works as if it were a game. And we're not the only ones who have noticed this. Many fans have also pointed out that Jax acts as if nothing is real, as if everything is just part of the game. With the most recent episodes, we also saw that he does remember his friends, and that deep down he still has emotions. But this is important because it changes the context. Because those attitudes are not just because he doesn't feel anything, but probably because he already knew what was happening and didn't want to accept it. It's even possible that he talked about this with other characters before they abstracted, and that he carried that experience with him. And there's also something very important. Jax, despite everything he's been through, hasn't abstracted, not even after hearing what Kingar said. So, if we've already seen him on the verge of abstracting, why hasn't he abstracted, even after hearing what was hardest for him to accept? Also, we see him later being used by Kane as dental floss, and he still endures it without abstracting. Even after that, he keeps walking with the group. This points to something very clear, friends. Jax knows something that the others don't, and with that said, get ready. Because now comes the most important part. What will Jax's sacrifice be like? In the story of I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, Ted understands that there is no way out and there never was. To stop suffering, he comes to a simple conclusion. The only option is to kill the others. Because the AI won't let them die and keeps them alive to torture them forever. During a lapse by the artificial intelligence, Ted kills them all very quickly, and with that, in theory, he frees them. But he stays. And when the artificial intelligence realizes what he did, it punishes him. It transforms him into a being that cannot speak or move and leaves him suffering like that forever. That's why Ted becomes colder and more logical. He's the one who ends up making the most important decisions. Something similar happens with Jax. The difference is that Jax keeps more to himself. He became colder and preferred his own space to think. And in episode 8, when they talked to Kinga, he was the first one who said he would distract Kane so he wouldn't hear them. And this is not a coincidence. Jax already acts like someone who knows he has to do something. So, if we compare this story with the one from the game, the question is clear. How is Jax going to free the others? Well, there are several possibilities. The first one is the cruelest. And it's the one that most closely resembles the original story. Jax could find a way to make the characters cease to exist. Maybe by causing them to abstract. By the way, right from the pilot episode, there was a theory that abstraction is the only way out. Another possibility is in Kane's office. There we see several cables that could be the connections for the character's neural data. And this can be confirmed when Kinga uses the computer to pause Kane and access the files. Here we can see that all the characters have a neural scan, although this could make Jax's sacrifice even darker. This information that Kane gave us implies that the characters could just be copies, and that there's no one waiting for them in the real world. Which means there's no body to return to. By the way, this is a theory we already saw in a previous video. And I'll leave it here in case you haven't seen it yet. Another option is that they use a computer to delete themselves one by one, just like Kinga deleted Kane. And the one who would have to do it would be Jax. The problem is that when trying to delete himself, he might not succeed. The system could prevent it. Or even Kane could come back from the residual files. Let's remember that when we delete something, whether on a computer or a cell phone, it's not completely erased. There are always residual files left which can be recovered. And this theory connects with something we've already seen. Jax was the first to volunteer to distract Kane while the others moved forward. That fits with someone who has already accepted his role. But let's not forget what Kinga said. There is no way out because one was never created. So what I can think of is that Kinga, with the help of another computer, could create an exit from the digital circus. But Kane might come back from the residual files. Or even that another artificial intelligence, like the one we also saw in the files Kinga accessed, could be the one preventing everyone from leaving. Something like the real villain of the digital circus. Kane was just its puppet. Actually, the evil artificial intelligence, or the one that's supposed to be AM, the villain from I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. Some people also think that Bubble is the other artificial intelligence we see in the files, the real villain. In fact, we already have a theory on the channel where we explain why people believe Bubble is a virus, which could tie in well with this, including what Bubble said in episode 8. I'll leave it here for you in case you haven't seen it yet. So, when trying to escape or create a new exit, Jax could be the one to distract or stop this artificial intelligence while the others cross or do what they have to do. And in that scenario, Jax wouldn't make it out. He would stay there forever, which could open up a season 2 of the digital circus, where the characters try to go back to save him. But anyway, what do you guys think? Do you think Jax will be the one to sacrifice himself? Or do you have another idea? Do you have any thoughts on how they could get out of the digital circus? Or do you think they'll never be able to get out? We'll see you in the comments.